I'm a bad mood, gotta keep it tight. Hold my baby squid, keep him out of sight. Talking about my life, government, stay away. Watch me drive, I'ma do it my own way. Squid in the ocean, swimming all alone. Ain't nobody telling me where to go. Living free, gotta stay true to myself. No need for interference from anyone else. Squid pro quo, that's the way to be. Living on my terms, setting myself free. I'm out to my baby, protecting with my no government intrusion. I control my life.
Hey guys, it's Squid. Welcome back to the channel. She says hi. Morning Toy, Squiddy Rock. Thank you. Flash fan, how are you? Good morning, Roy. Don't tell Megan. Okay, I left them for this. Yeah, Megan is streaming this morning doing her Legos. I more needed to get this out, and I hate recording videos. So here we go. Squid squared. I love that. It's been a crazy busy morning. The boys went hunting this morning, so I've been getting pictures. My breakfast is a leftover hamburger from yesterday, and it's right here. So it's wrapped up in a paper towel. I haven't good morning. What are the Gators complaining about now? They are not complaining about anything. Billy Napier, starting in this lawsuit originated in May, is being sued by a former recruit. So I'm going to get into it. There's an amended complaint, and this is going to have to be a two-parter because it's been so long since I've talked about this. And there was no documents for a while, and then all of a sudden, I hadn't checked in a while because I'm like, oh, there's no documents. There's going to be no documents until after the football season. So, sorry. I'm watching her in the camera, and I'm like, girl, she's got my protein shake. That's supposed to be the other half of my breakfast. I have to log into Pacer. I have some things downloaded for this, but not others, because there's just so much stuff that I have to Yeah, and I'm going to kind of cover this because I recorded 2 videos on it, and it was basically me just reading the complaint. There was no commentary. There was no, there was nothing. And it was actual recorded video. And I think I had like 50 subs at the time that I recorded it. So I didn't really, nobody really knows about it. And it's not really being reported in the news because it involves Billy Napier and it is a distraction from football season. But now that football season's over, I think I heard one thing on it, and that was it. And that kind of got me interested in it. But with all this, with all these people being sued, it's just, and there's 3 defendants. There's Billy Napier, or 4 defendants. Hugh Hathcock, Billy Napier, who I call Sunbelt Billy, because, I hate Florida. Marcus Castro Walker, which I believe was a former recruiting staffer for the University of Florida, and Velocity Automotive, which is the NIL collective. There is not, the University of Florida is not actually being sued. Just everything around the University of Florida is being sued. And I think the last time I looked at this was September, and there's so much stuff. So there's a motion to dismiss by all 4 defendants. And I'm only going to read you one because of they're all 4 the same thing, except for they're just different names. and different reasoning as to why, and then there's a motion to withdraw as attorney. There's just Castro Walker. There's both of Castro Walker's attorneys filed motions to withdraw. It's just it's a mess. And because I haven't kept up on it, there's just a lot of stuff. So I'm going to read you, and I'm kind of going to paraphrase, so because this motion is long. I'll get into that, Flash fan. It's a civil suit. And for those of you who know me, know that I love college football. And a couple years ago, the Supreme Court came down with a decision that said you have to pay players for their name, image, and likeness, NIL. Well, I don't think the NCAA actually thought they were going to lose because there is no guidelines. There's nothing. It's like the wild, wild west in college football right now. And I had a feeling, I didn't know, I just had a feeling that this would backfire and people would get pissed off. Well, this is one of the first lawsuits that I've seen filed. Don't think it's the first. It's the first ones that I've seen that has been filed against a university staffer, a coach, who the player was promised things that the university or the NIL collective, long story short, is what the universities use to pay their players. It's former players, the boosters, them people. All right. Let's see. First Amendment complaint. So, and the person who filed this, at the time they filed it, was only like 19. Is only 19. No, that's Baby Squid. She's eating her second breakfast. I say second breakfast because she wakes up and she eats, like, she grabs a pouch or some yogurt or something, and she doesn't eat a lot. So about an hour or two after her first venture into eating, I give her toast and a protein source. You got accused of attack. How are you attacking people? On my stream? What? Flashman, you don't attack anybody. All right. Plaintiff Jaden Rashada. Jaden Rashada is now, and the reason that this matters is he's now a quarterback for University of Georgia. So there's that. Plaintiff Jaden Rashada versus William Billy Napier, Marcus Castro Walker, Hugh Hathcock, and Velocity Automotive Solutions. Plaintiff Jaden Rashada's first amended complaint. Jaden, by and through counsel, hereby files his first amended complaint against all the defendants. And I'm kind of going to read it fast because it is 46 pages. Introduction. The unsuccessful recruitment of star high school quarterback Jaden Rashada to the University of Florida is emblematic of abuses running rampant in the world of big-time college football. Student athletes can now be paid for use of their name, image, and likeness, more commonly known as NIL. Jaden's miserable experience reveals in stark and dramatic detail what can happen to young student athletes when wealthy, win-at-all-costs alumni, the boosters, insert themselves into college football's recruiting process. At the time of the events in this complaint, Jaden was a 19-year-old college football prospect. He grew up in a football family in working-class Pittsburgh, California. Upon graduating from Pittsburgh High with 4.0 GPA, Jaden was ranked 7th nationally in the class of 2023 college-bound quarterbacks. As such, he was recruited by several of the country's elite college football programs, including Louisiana State, Texas A&M, Oregon, Mississippi, Miami, and Florida. Florida had been in the helm of pushing pushing the limits of the ever-evolving NIL landscape, and they've got nothing to show for it. Personal opinion. Its football program and head football coach, defendant Coach Napier, are central figures in this story. The NIL game starts with the relationship between a university sports program and its alumni, boosters, and funding organizations known as collectives. These entities, which are new to college athletics, play a critical role in making NIL opportunities possible and aiding in recruitment. This is the reality that led to the involvement of defendant Hugh Hathcock. Hathcock, a longtime UF booster, has used his money in significant ways to pledge his allegiance to Florida. In 2022, Hathcock displayed his commitment and loyalty to Florida athletics with an 8-figure donation to the Athletic Association, the largest donation in program's history. To show its gratitude, Florida approved the naming of the Hugh Hathcock Suite Tower at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium and the Hugh Hathcock basketball complex at the basketball practice facility. No, another stream told the YouTuber to use Google. I simply said she doesn't tend to use Google, and they were like, please don't attack me. Oh boy. Morning, Captain. And morning, host picker. I'm sorry. And Lulu, I never said hi to you. And John. This is just college football gone wrong. And yeah, it's a tragic story. The 64-year-old entrepreneur has clearly been successful and public about his business endeavors, with various media reports estimating his net worth at $500 million. Given such a lofty status, Hathcock, along with alumni, boosters, and staff with ties to Florida athletics program, used their collective power, influence, and wealthy to fraudulently induce Jaden to commit to Florida. They sold Jaden on the idea that by flipping his commitment from Miami to Florida, not only could he play for a top offensive program, but he could also receive significantly more money. And therein lies the problem. You're not selling kids on the ability to play at a top program or have good facilities, or the fact that you would get a degree from the University of Florida. You're selling them on how much money they can make. That's what college and going to the NFL and development in college and going to the NFL was supposed to provide, is that money. Now, although I do agree with paying kids for their name, image, and likeness, because these schools are making millions and millions of dollars off of these kids, and these kids aren't seeing a dime, there was no rules. So all hell is breaking loose. And here's a problem. Edward Rojas, the CEO of the Gator Collective, LLC, was involved throughout the efforts to flip Jaden. Once Jaden committed to Florida, Rojas continued to convey false and empty promises to Jaden. Tell Jaden we look forward to setting him up for life. Need to set up Jaden's brokerage accounts ASAP. Dude is rich and we just got started. And when you're 19 and you hear that means a lot to a 19-year-old kid. Like, yeah. Deceitful promises such as these did indeed convince Jaden to flip and sign a $13.85 million NIL deal with the Gator Collective. But once Jaden committed to UF, rather than make Jaden, quote, rich as promised, these people, with Coach Napier and Hathcock leading the charge, changed their tune and went back on their word. After inducing Jaden to flip his commitment and forego the opportunity to play for Miami, including the $9.5 million Miami NIL deal, the amount of UF-affiliated NIL money available for Jaden decreased drastically. My problem with his lawsuit is that he didn't get that written down anywhere, from what I understand. It was word of mouth. And although that does mean something, that doesn't really mean anything. And you flipped from Miami, where you could have gotten $9.5 million, to Florida for $13.85. Greedy much? Like, and he does not come from a family where the money would be like, it's not like he comes from the inner city or anything like that. He comes from a football family. So I could see a kid from the inner city whose family is poor, who that extra money would mean the world to. This is not the case. In an effort to further deprive Jaden of any other possible NIL opportunities, defendants continued to manipulate Jaden until he signed a letter of intent with UF. These actions culminated with Coach Napier himself vouching that UF alumni were good on their promise, telling Jaden in December of 22 that he would soon be paid $1 million if he signed with UF on National Signing Day. Did you get it in writing? Defendant Castor Walker leveraged their coach's promise that Napier would, quote, get it done, and threatened on National Signing Day that if Jaden did not sign a national letter of intent with Florida, Coach Napier might pull his scholarship and walk away from Jaden entirely. No, Ra Thomas is Ra Thomas is completely different. Ra Thomas was an active player that transferred from, I'm not sure where he transferred from, maybe Missouri. But he's being charged with a felony, domestic dispute. So this is completely different. Jaden Rashada is a quarterback that obviously was involved in the Miami and Florida issue, and he ended up going to Arizona State for like nothing. And after 1 year at Arizona State, he transferred to Georgia. I don't know a lot about college football, but I know enough to know. Like, I am not the type that can watch film and completely understand what's going on, but like I know a little bit about football and the drama behind it. Despite threats and promises, neither Coach Napier nor wealthy boosters like Hathcock ever, quote, got it done for Jaden. Instead, defendants attempted to strong-arm Jaden into NIL contract with a fraction of what they promised. Here, defendants used lies to secure Jaden's commitment to Florida, only to try to retrade the deal once Jaden had given up the other multi-million-dollar NIL opportunities available to him. Do I know? I would consider no, like looking at the tape, and I do follow the film guy. He is a recruiting person that works for Sports Illustrated who happens to be a Georgia fan, and he breaks down the tape, and I'm sort of starting to understand that part. But you know, I couldn't tell you play calling, but I consider play calling no. I just know. I know, but I don't know, you know? If you know, you know. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up this morning. I don't know why. Here, defendants used lies to secure Jaden's commitment to UF, only to retrade the deal once Jaden given up other multi-million-dollar NIL opportunities. The legal terms for what happened to Jaden are fraud and fraudulent inducement. Sadly, unethical and illegal tactics like this are more and more commonplace in the Wild West that is today's college football landscape. Didn't I tell you? Wild West? Didn't I tell you? Sorry, I had to ask. It's okay. You ate all your toast. She's looking at her plate like, where'd the toast go? Because you ate it all. I love the toddler brain. Sadly, unethical and illegal acts like this are more and more commonplace in the Wild West that is today's college football landscape. And as a first scholar athlete to take a stand against such egregious behavior by adults who should know better, Jaden seeks to hold defendants accountable for their actions and to expose the unchecked abuse of power that they shamelessly wielded. You're talking about the Gators is always a funny subject. I'm a Florida or a Georgia fan. I hate Florida. Like, it's like being in Milwaukee and hating Chicago. Like, it's, yeah. The only thing I hate more than Florida is Alabama. If you know, you know. The 300 viewers only show up for the drama streams. And this is drama, but it's a different kind of drama. And I learned early that a lot of LawTube people don't know sports, and a lot of sports people don't know law. And I'm in the middle. I'm stuck in the middle. I like where sports and the law meet. And this is an interest to me because this NIL crap is out of control. And this is a this is out of control. Jurisdiction and venues. Court has jurisdiction over the proceeding under 28 U.S. Code 1332 because cases arise between citizens of different states and the matter in this controversy exceeds the sum or value of $10 million. That's a lot of money. Venue is proper in the Northern District of Florida pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1391 because the judicial district in which Hugh Hathcock resides. This so happens to be the same court, the same jurisdiction that is handling Jeremy Hills. So, because our Gators would swallow their little Jordan fat bulldog. It's good. UGA is like the most well taken care of animal. I swear that animal has his own hotel room. That boy has his own hotel room wherever they go. Oh yes, there's still that basketball. Yes. Yeah. Uh-oh. Okay. Sorry, I just got a notification from my credit card company that there was a very big charge on my credit card, and then I remembered that the boys went on a hunting trip this weekend, and the lodge was not not cheap in the least bit. Pensacola, Northern District of Florida, is the proper division because Hugh Hathcock resides in Okaloosa. Florida people, correct me, please. Therefore, it would be proper in the Pensacola division if the division was a standalone district. Parties. Plaintiff Jaden Rashada is a resident of the state of Georgia at the time of the events that are central to the claims in this case. Jaden was a resident of California. Hugh Hathcock, a resident of Okaloosa County, Florida. Hathcock is a successful entrepreneur and dedicated UF athletics booster. Hathcock claimed to have established his own NIL collective called the Gator Guard Marketing LLC for the purpose of financing large NIL deals for Florida athletes. Hathcock's self-professed primary aim for his own collective was to attract high-profile athletes by offering substantial sums of money. Defendant Hathcock has entered an appearance in this proceeding and may be served through his attorney of record. Morning, Paul. Defendant Coach Billy Napier is the head football coach at the University of Florida, but he's not employed by the University of Florida. Defendant Napier has entered an appearance in this proceeding and may be served through his attorney of record. Defendant Marcus Castro Walker served as Director of Player Engagement and NIL for the University of Florida. He was not employed by the University of Florida. Castro Walker reported to Coach Napier and participated in the efforts to recruit Jaden to UF. Defendant Castro Walker has entered an appearance in this proceeding, blah, blah, blah. I'm skipping through the repetitive because y'all know that these things can get kind of boring sometimes. So, I try to skip through the repetitive when we all know what it says. And this will be on my Discord server. It will be. I just haven't put it there yet. Facts. Jaden was a highly sought-after quarterback in the 2023 recruiting class. Jaden grew up in a football family. His father, Harlan Rashada, was a standout football player for Arizona State. And his two older brothers played college football as well. When Jaden began looking at colleges, Jaden looked for a program with an offensive-minded head coach and a solid offensive coordinator. I really don't know if Billy Napier was your dude, but okay, to each their own. The new world of NIL compensation becomes a key factor in Jaden's college recruitment. When Jaden entered the 2023 college recruitment season, the NCAA had only recently adopted rules allowing compensation to student athletes for the use of their name, image, and likeness. This new NIL regime, I love the phrasing here, opened the door to formation of so-called collectives, groups of donors who agreed to fund NIL contracts with athletes in exchange for the athlete's de facto commitment to a particular school. With the emergence of collectives, NIL contracts became a major component of college athletic recruiting. And I don't think the NCAA saw that one coming. I think they were very short-sighted in what they saw. I don't think they had a plan. I think they effed it up. Jaden's recruitment season involved universities and its boosters not only selling their football program, but also discussing the lucrative NIL proposals. The recruitment ultimately boiled down to two famed Florida football schools, UF and Miami. Hathcock sets his eyes on Jaden. Hathcock participated in Jaden's recruitment from the beginning. Specifically in June of 22, Jaden made an official recruitment visit to Florida. During the visit, Jaden and his family met with UF's Director of NIL and Player Engagement, Defendant Castor Walker. The meeting occurred in a conference room at UF's athletic facility where Castor Walker was scheduled to present on the topic of NIL at Coach Napier's direction. And that right there is a key phrase. Upon entering the meeting room, Castor Walker informed Jaden's father, Harlan, that one of UF's biggest boosters was there that day and he wanted to speak with Jaden. Castor Walker explained that Hathcock was there to drop off his Lamborghini for a photo shoot. But you, quote, didn't see him. I don't disagree. And there's a debate there to be had, because I do agree that players should be compensated for the fact that their schools make millions and millions of dollars off of their name, image, and likeness, but the kids don't get anything. And I know they get a scholarship, but the scholarships were there before TV contracts and all of that stuff. But I believe there's a better way to do it, and I think collectives are not the way, because collectives just say, it's like baseball without a salary cap. The richest cities and the richest teams can get the best players, where a small market team that doesn't have that kind of cash can't get anybody. So, you know. Oh boy. And y'all, keep it civil. Like, I know y'all will, but I'm just giving you the yeah. Hey, Skipper. And like I said, the last time I talked about this, I just gave a tiny update, but I think the last time I actually did a stream on it was like never. And I did 2 videos where I read this, and I think I had less than 100 subscribers at the time. He was not a good player. I'm sorry. Well, apparently he had to be good enough to go there. And that's the thing. Even crappy teams, like, the players aren't horrible. Like, you have to be good. Like, even the worst NFL player is still way better at football than the average person. So, acknowledging the forbidden yet undeniable affiliation between Hathcock and Florida's football program. And I'm just going to refer as UF as Florida because it's just easier for me to comprehend. During the meeting, Hathcock entered the room from a back entrance. Castor Walker introduced him to Jaden's family. Then Hathcock quickly took over the meeting. Hathcock explained who he was, bragged that he was a big financial supporter of Florida's football program, and assured Jaden that Florida's football program was going to achieve much success under Coach Napier. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. There's a reason I call him Sunbelt Billy. Just saying. Sorry. That's hilarious. During this discussion with Jaden and his family in the room, Hathcock told Castor Walker that whatever Jaden needed to come to UF from an NIL standpoint, Hathcock would make happen. Hathcock also suggested that he could secure employment for Jaden's father, Harlan, in the security industry if Jaden were to commit to UF. Hathcock's promises ultimately proved to be lies. Later that summer, Hathcock offered Jaden an approximate $11 million UF-affiliated NIL deal. This offer was to be funded partially through defendant Velocity Automotive and partially through GatorGuard. Castor Walker participated in these discussions on behalf of Coach Napier and Hathcock. Hey, Young Hung Hero. Oh, and hey, Cynthia. And thank you for dropping everybody's links. I appreciate it. By the time Jaden received this offer, he had already verbally committed to Miami's coach. Ultimately, in June 26, 22, Jaden publicly committed to play football at the University of Miami. Jaden also agreed to a $9.5 million NIL deal with a Miami-affiliated collective. UF conspired to flip Jaden from his commitment with Miami to UF. And I'm sorry, guys. All of a sudden, my voice decided to stop working. And thank you, Patrick, for the one gifted Squid Pro Quo membership. And that went to, let's see, Blue Amaryllis. Yeah. You did get one yesterday? Yay! Yeah. Happy Christmas and Merry New Year. All right. Despite Jaden committing to Miami, Florida and its boosters persisted in their recruitment efforts. The pressure campaign culminated with an NIL offer exceeding Miami's by more than $4 million, which ultimately led to Jaden's committing to UF. Hung Hero, thanks for being a member for 3 months. Sports ball! Yeah, sports and the law. My two interests combining. And I understand that football is not for everybody. And I understand that reading documents is not for everybody. But this is where my 2 favorite activities in life combine. Flashband member for 1 month. Just wanted you to know you're the best. Congratulations on getting that gifted membership. I know that you're unable to buy one through the iPad. So it's awesome that you got one. Notwithstanding Jaden's commitment to Miami, Coach Napier decided he wanted Jaden as Florida's quarterback and initiated the process to make that happen. To accomplish Coach Napier's goal, Castor Walker, acting on behalf of himself and on Napier's behalf, texted Jaden's NIL agents, Jackson Zegger and Thomas Thompson, on October 27, 22, and stated, "You already know what we need to do over the next few days. Get us the QB." Might as well use mine too. Thanks, Roy, for being a member for 3 months. It's holiday week. Was that eggnog or whiskey? Can't tell anymore. It was my normal, my normal Celsius. And do you notice, since I got this new camera, I'm not having to go to try to not be in focus. Although you can see every imperfection. Do I need to get you a rag? Angel, can you wipe your face? No. No. I've started giving her Christmas presents early because she is finding new ways to give me heart attacks. I'm going to turn off my camera for a second so that I can go get her a rag that is on the table. She just refuses to use it. Angel. Hey, face, please. Hands. Thank you. Kiss. I love you. Here. We got to plug this in. Oh my goodness. When did you get so big? Here you go. There you go. There you go. Yep. And here, wipe your hands again. There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much. Here. Sorry, mama break. Oh. Yeah, HD is not kind to any kind of skin imperfection. Mainly my the FU line is what I call it, because when I'm like, it's what happens when I get, crazy. All right. Castor Walker and Napier knew that flipping would require Jaden to abandon his commitment to Miami. Oh no, she's the kind of girl where I'll say wipe your face, and she's like, most of the time. So she has an obsession. Every time we even get near the bathroom, she goes onto her little stool and says, hands, and stands at the sink and wants to wash her hands. Her favorite activities are washing her hands and brushing her teeth. So, yeah, that's surprisingly not an issue. She was just getting down off her thing and told me no. She usually doesn't tell me no. Miami, and with its widely publicized $9.5 million NIL agreement, which he had agreed. Footnote 1, ultimately Castro Walker and Coach Napier conspired with Hathcock and his affiliates to fraudulently induce Jaden to abandon his $9.5 million Miami deal. Working together, defendants touted Hathcock's willingness and ability to exceed Miami's $9.5 million if Jaden flipped to UF. E.g. Jeremy Crabtree, Rachada turned down millions, will still have highest known NIL deal for recruits on 3, June 26, 22, available at on3.com. Report, Miami QB recruit agrees to $9.5 million NIL deal, Sports Illustrated, June 27, 22. Yeah. As evidenced by the alleged collective's complete lack of funds to support this commitment. However, Hathcock and those acting on his behalf made these representations and promises to Jaden, either knowing that Hathcock and his entity lacked the intention to fulfill them, or recklessly without knowing if they were true or false. See ya. She likes them, except when you rinse her hair and get soap. Anyway, we haven't figured out the concept of when we tip our head back, if we leave it back and I rinse her hair, or Daddy rinses her hair, she won't get water in her face. She hasn't quite figured that out yet. She tips her head back, and the minute I go to pour, she brings her head down, and it's like, ugh! If you just tip your head back, keep some hot water out of your face. But other than that, she goes and turns on the water in the shower herself, or in the tub herself. So, working alongside defendant Hathcock and taking instruction from his supervisor, Napier, Castro Walker communicated to Zager and Thompson what UF would pay if Jaden decommitted from Miami and committed to play football for Florida, and the communications were relayed to Jaden. On or around October 30th of 22, a few days after Castro Walker told Zager, get us the QB, Castro Walker sent another text to Zager, we need to lock down Jaden. Castro Walker further conveyed the high sense of urgency, stating, Florida want Jaden to flip this week. In early November, Hathcock and Castro Walker worked closely and concertedly to pressure Jaden with extravagant NIL offers. And I hate that. Like, once a kid, here's my other issue with college football. Once a kid commits, like, I understand that you want to flip him, but there are ways to do it. And like, pressuring him with more money, it's like, it's taking advantage of the fact that a kid doesn't know any better, and that a kid is a kid. And I'm sorry, when you're 19, you're still a kid. Like, until you've paid your own bills, you're still a kid. In this conversation with Jaden's NIL agents around this time, Hathcock made clear that his ability to fund lucrative NIL deals was the means to Napier's recruiting end. Hathcock stated to Jaden's agent during these November 9th and 10th, 22 phone calls that he would do whatever Castro Walker and Napier said was necessary to secure a talented player. I just listened to them, Jaden's agents, relayed these conversations back to him. If I disappear, it's because delivery will be here. Lois delivering new tub shower for the contractor this morning. Nice. The ultimate proposal promised Jaden $13.85 million over 4 years at Florida. The offer, which was $4 million or 42% more than the Miami deal, was to be funded through two sources. First, Hathcock would pay $5.35 million, including a $500,000 signing bonus, through Hathcock's company Velocity Automotive. Footnote 2. The remainder of this $13.85 million would be paid through Hathcock's NIL collective Gator Guard. Footnote 3. On or around November 9th, 22, Zager reported to Jaden's father, Harlan, conversations that he had with Castro Walker and Hathcock relating to the structure of the UF NIL deal. Zager told Jaden and Harlan, had the contract with Velocity being ironed out now, Hugh wanted to discuss them in the morning, should just be plugging in at that point, be done with. Collective side is done with, just need to finish this part. At all times relevant to this complaint, Hathcock was an officer of Velocity Automotive with an actual and apparent authority to act on Velocity Automotive's behalf. Specifically, in the Velocity Automotive annual report filed with the Florida Secretary of State in July of 2022, Hathcock is named as an authorized member and David Penny is named as manager. 3. Through Hathcock reportedly formed the Gator Guard and reportedly raised $5 million for the Guard to fund UF student-athlete NIL contracts, no entity called Gator Guard Marketing LLC appears to have ever registered with the Florida Secretary of State. Although a nonprofit entity called Gator Guard Charity Inc. was formed in May of 2022 and shares an address with Velocity Automotive, an entity Hathcock owns and controls, it is unclear how this entity could have supported guaranteed payments to the extent contemplated by Hathcock and Castro Walker's representations to Jaden. That's huge. Like, you're telling this that this collective is going to pay you, and this collective doesn't even exist. Through these discussions, Hathcock's representations to Jaden's agents, which were later communicated to him, led Jaden to believe that Castro Walker had authority to negotiate the NIL agreement that Hathcock and Velocity Automotive would fund. As such, defendant Castro Walker acted with actual and apparent authority with respect to his representations on behalf of Hathcock. Hathcock, and I hate saying that name, clearly was an agent of Velocity Automotive, which with actual and apparent authority to negotiate the NIL agreement. Further, given his close relationship with Coach Napier and the UF football program, it is implausible that Hathcock would agree to pay Jaden among the 28 other similarly ranked quarterbacks in the 2023 recruiting class, without being instructed by Napier to do so. Thus, Hathcock also acted with the actual and apparent authority of Coach Napier. Hathcock felt so confident that his fraudulent promises would persuade Jaden to commit to UF that Hathcock tweeted, "Tomorrow will be a great day for Gator fans." Sounds like I'm trying to say Alfred Hitchcock. And Cynthia, thank you for being a member for 3 months. Okay, I'll fess up that I'm a member too. Cheers. And cheers to all my members. Whether you decided to get a membership on your own or someone forced you into it by gifting you one, I'm glad y'all are here. Even Bruce. Ugh. On November 10th, 22, during the early morning, Zager reported the status of negotiations to Harlan. Contract drafted reviewing this morning. We'll lock in value with you here. I think Jaden will be able to sign this thing by tonight. If y'all are ready, then I'll keep you in the loop with updates. And 19-year-olds having agents for college. I've been looking for someone to pick on though. So like I said last night, I ran out of my BS is overflowing. My BS tolerance ran out this weekend. Yeah. So maybe he disappeared before that. NIL and transfer portal have ruined college sports. Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure, if I were like, no one cares about in the NCAA cares about my opinion, but if I were doing it, if you want to transfer, you lose a year of eligibility. You don't have to sit for a year, but you lose a year of eligibility. And like I think that would stop because there is a player who was transferred every year. They've been to like 4 or 5 schools. And then the pandemic did not help because players were giving an extra year of eligibility. So you had players that had been playing for 6 years at multiple schools. And it's like, yeah, just like hold on a second. She's currently dancing. But I have to make sure that she turns it down so that I don't get a copyright struck and if I have to hear that song anymore, I know. And Dong Hong Hero, thank you for the $2 super chat. Wow. Why whole cock when you can have I could always count on you for a laugh, Dong Hong Hero. Yep, pretty much. Oh. She will dance all morning. This report was based on promises made by Hathcock through Castro Walker, and I'm just going to call him Walker, consistently represented to Jaden's agent that he was in constant communication with Hathcock throughout negotiations, claiming to reiterate Hathcock's statements and assurances made during phone calls just minutes earlier. Before the deal was finalized, however, Hathcock balked. Citing plans to sell Velocity Automotive, Hathcock declined to use his company or the Gator Guard to directly fund the promised NIL payments. Walker and Hathcock therefore suggested that the funds from Hathcock and his company pass through the Gator Collective. This was a change in structure to make the sale process easier for Hathcock and Velocity, but substantively, English is hard. And from Jaden's perspective, the terms remain the same. Regardless of the outward appearance, Hathcock's agents later confirmed multiple times in December of 22 that the funds would still be coming from Velocity, either in the form of sale proceeds or from wires initiated by its CEO, David Penny. Footnote 4. These assurances regarding the fund structure for the deal were communicated to Jaden through his agents. Both Velocity Automotive and Gator Guard Marketing, LLC, were alter egos of Hathcock. Oh, we know all about alter egos around here, don't we? These actual or alleged entities were used as mere instrumentalities. Volume down. Thank you. You can play it. You just have to have your volume down because you're going to get me struck. Oh, Angel. For the improper purpose of furthering Hathcock's fraudulent promises, Velocity Automotive and Gator Guard Marketing, both of which are actual or alleged entities dominated and controlled by Hathcock, were purportedly being used to fund the transactions that Hathcock claimed Velocity Automotive and Gator Guard Marketing would honor. There you go. I was going to make a very appropriate comment, but thought better. Yeah. Colleges are not hiring football program GMs to handle negotiations for NIL money. It's ridiculous. Oregon QB, and that has been playing college football going on 7 years. Tommy Boyline comes to mind. Yeah, lots of people go to college for 8 years. They're called doctors. Yeah. And thank you, Ong Hung Hero, for the $5 super chat. Someone needs to clip this and remove every time she says the half part of the name. Stop. Please don't. Please don't. I would appreciate it if y'all wouldn't do that. To facilitate the new structure, Walker and Hathcock, not half, partnered with Rojas, the CEO of the Gator Collective. They all assured Jaden that his agents that the deal would still be fully funded. See, and here is where I would be like, shit is shady. Shit is shady. Just get out. This seems shady from the get-go. Like, you had almost $10 million from Miami. Like, just go with that. Oh. For example, after Thompson and Zager learned about Hathcock's plans to sell his company, Jennifer Grasso, the Gator Collective lawyer, drafting the Florida NIL agreement, confirmed during a phone call with Thompson and Zager that Hathcock would wire money monthly so that all necessary payments could be made to Jaden. And see, that's another shady. Like, that just sounds shady. Ms. Grasso later confirmed that she frequently worked with Mr. Penny, Velocity CEO, to facilitate the monthly payments it made to the Gator Collective. Just sounds. Hands up, it's the campus police. Hey, that's just like Bruce Hathcock from What the Woman of Ark. My God. I'm just not even going to go there. Oh. The only thing that's half-cocked is his nose. Sorry. And hey, Spawn Trooper, how are you? On November 10th of 22, Ms. Grasso specifically stated that Hathcock would fund the first $500,000 owed to Jaden. She wanted Jaden and his family to know that UF was serious about securing Jaden's commitment. She made these representations with actual and apparent authority to negotiate the contract on behalf of Rojas and Hathcock, either acting for himself or for Velocity. If you're shady, see a proctologist. Oh my God. Y'all crack me up. Really? Sorry, is that too much to swallow? Well, apparently Bruce thinks you can swallow an Apple Pencil, so I mean, he must not have a gag reflex. But I've told him that to his face. So, and thank you, Ong Hung Hero, for the $2 super chat. Good, totally forgot to put up Christmas lights. So yeah, I'm in the doghouse for a really long time. I spent 2 hours turning my house into a light source for the local area. Happy wife, happy life. Remember that. Rojas, the CEO of Gator Collective, was also heavily involved in the efforts to flip Jaden's commitment during the evening of November 10th, 22. Rojas text messaged Zager, "Heard we are working together doing big things, brother." Rojas confirmed his involvement, stating, "Let me finish the paperwork and get his flip tonight. Excited about this for all of us." Oh. And Spawn Trooper, you know that's my mom, right? So, like, Rojas also emphasized the unique significance of Jaden flipping from Florida's rival, Miami, texting, "We're going to have to dodge the freaks in Miami. I hate Miami. This is going to be fun to watch." And we are going to... Rojas crowed about the life-changing impact the falsely promised NIL compensation would have, saying, "Tell Jaden we look forward to setting him up for life. Need to set up his brokerage accounts ASAP. Dude is rich and we just got started. Tell Jaden we look..." sorry. I was going back and forth. And this is where chat derails me. Like, as the parties exchanged draft agreements, Hathcock continued to show his involvement in the imminent flip by tweeting, "All good, just a little longer." If my last name was Hathcock, I would legally change it. Just saying. Miss Grasso additionally pressured Jaden to make sure he publicly announced his commitment to Florida on November 10th. At around 10 p.m., when Jaden had still not announced his commitment, Grasso impatiently texted Zager, I might go to sleep if I had 500K headed my way in 2 weeks, but we need a commitment to get there. I'm just saying. Relying on defendants' false promises, Jaden decommitted from Miami and left the $9.5 million agreement. Late on the night of November 10th, Jaden agreed to a $13.85 million NIL deal and publicly flipped his commitment from Miami to Florida. Jaden Rashada, his tweet, and his statement. Hathcock, Walker, and Napier knew that once Jaden publicly flipped to UF, this was end his commitment to Miami and cost him his $9.5 million NIL agreement. Defendants' false and fraudulent promises materially induced Jaden to engage in conduct he would not have engaged in otherwise, namely defendants' fraudulent promises to cause Jaden to forego a $9.5 million. That's just saying that is like for a 19-year-old. And other potential NIL packages. Jaden relied upon Castro Walker, Hathcock, and Velocity's misrepresentations to his detriment because Hathcock and Velocity lacked the intent to honor their promise to pay Jaden $13.85 million to attend UF. All representations regarding the $13.85 million NIL deal leading up to this inducement were made by defendants Hathcock, Walker, and either acting on behalf of themselves or as agents of Coach Napier with actual and apparent authority. Moreover, Castro Walker also acting as an agent of Hathcock with an actual or apparent authority to make representations on his behalf, and Hathcock was acting as an agent of Velocity with actual and apparent authority to pledge its funds. Oh, can you go put that in the garbage? Thank you. Such a sweet girl. Hathcock and Walker made false representations either on their own behalf. Sorry, I had to listen for the sound of the trash can opening. Just lies being sput out. Yeah. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, this is just like this so. And I said it earlier, but like $9.5 million is a lot of money. But a 19-year-old who sees $13.85 million is like, you know that they're gonna, when you wave money in front of a kid, like I was 18 like once, and I got induced for an extra year in the military for a lot less than that. But I saw a paycheck and made stupid decisions, but that's on me. But like, this is just, and this whole thing is just out of control. And I would think like, and also, and I don't think I've ever seen you on my channel before, so welcome. It's one of those things of like, this just is out of control. Like the amount of money, and no offense to Jaden Rashada at all, but his family is a football family. His family is not broke by any means. They are not poor. So that $4 million is just greed, that extra $4 million. I could see if he came from, Chicago or like downtown Chicago, and it's, he came from a poor family where that $4 million could make a huge impact on not just you, your parents, but like your entire family. I could see that. But like, this is just a lot of money for football. And I love college football. Do not get me wrong, but damn. Let's just be honest here. Damn. Like, oh, all right. Where did I leave off? Hathcock and Castro Walker made the false representations either on their own behalf or as agents with a requisite level of. She's tapping on the window. Because they made false statements, knowing that the representations were false. without knowledge of truth or falsity of the representations, or C, under circumstances in which they ought to have known, if they did not know, that the representations and promises were false. Like, this just seems shady. And from, like, Jaden Rashada's and his parents' standpoint and his agents, like, things that were said in text messages, like, that just seemed shady from the start. I'm not going to read this out loud, but Hung Hero, you're insane. I love you like a brother, but you're insane. Ugh. Like, you're crazy. And trying to derail me. Thank you. Appreciate that. Defendants failed to honor their financial commitments to Jaden. The agreement was finalized and signed on November 10th of 2022. Then, less than a month later, without any warning, the Gator Collective abruptly and unilaterally terminated it. The deadline for the first $500,000 payment, I can't imagine even getting a $500,000 payment for anything, owed to Jaden pursuant to the agreement was December 5th of 2022. As the deadline drew near, Ms. Grosso informed Jaden's representatives that Mr. Penny would coordinate Hathcock's payments. Penny, in turn, informed Jaden's agents that he was waiting on Hathcock's direction before paying. Walker also represented that he was communicating with Hathcock about the payment and that Hathcock was finalizing the logistics of the payment. He said, she said, this person is saying this person's saying this person's saying this, and ultimately nobody ever gets paid. Because, you know, there's too many hands in, too many pieces in the pie, and it's like, well, they said they were going to do this. They said they were going to do this. They said they were going to do this. Sorry, I haven't done a good derailing in a while. Finally got a day off. Appreciate that. The Michigan case I'm following involves a jewelry store owner, his wife, and said that he had $5,000 on his person. That's way too much. Yeah, that's way too much to be carrying around. Like, nope. Castor Walker also represented that he was communicating with Hathcock about the payment and that Hathcock was finally in the logistics. Thus, leading up to the initial payment deadline, defendants' words and actions continued to communicate an intent to honor their promises. Despite defendants' many representations to the contrary, however, it ultimately became clear that defendants never intended to pay Jaden the $500,000 that was promised as an initial payment. It just now became clear, like based on what you're writing, it became clear like months before this. In furtherance of their fraud, on December 4th of 22, Hathcock, through Castor Walker, again confirmed that the $500,000 payment would be coming the next day. Thager and Thompson asked Castor Walker for assurance that the payment would be made on December 5th, 2022, stating, "You're connecting with Hugh Hathcock later today on that first payment, correct?" Castor Walker responded, "Yes." And later, "Yes, I spoke to him the other day, was working on something out with his accountants." That right there just seems shady AF to me. But Hathcock, Castor Walker, and Coach Napier all knew or should have known that something that Jaden did not. Hathcock and Velocity had no intention on performing as they had promised. Instead, after failing to pay the agreed $500,000 initial payment on its due date the very next day, the Gator Collective sent Jaden a letter purporting to terminate the $13.85 million NIL contract. Indeed, less than a month prior, Jaden had been persuaded by defendants to abandon his $9.5 million NIL deal agreement with Miami. I think he should have just gone to Miami. Like, I just think he should have gone to Miami. I think it would have been, Mario Cristobal would have been a much better place for him to go than jumping around schools. I just... In favor of a promise of significantly more from Florida. And now on December 6, 2022, Jaden was left with no NIL assurances at all. Defendants continue to make false promises. Unfortunately, defendants' fraudulent activity did not stop there. In violation of Florida law, Castor Walker initially and Coach Napier later made extraordinary efforts to persuade Jaden that they would make good on the promised NIL compensation despite the termination of the Gator Collective's contract. Defendants continued to lie and make material misrepresentations to Jaden, Harlan, and Jaden's NIL agents. Defendants' goals were twofold. One, to ensure Jaden remained committed to UF, and two, to avoid paying the promised NIL funds. Defendants knew that for most college athletes, the prospect of NIL earnings is life-changing. Defendants exploited this fact for their own personal advantage by continuously assuring Jaden that the promised funds would be forthcoming. And this happened this year with, I think, UNLV. UNLV decided to not pay their quarterback, and the details are fuzzy right now. And he decided he was going to transfer and stop playing. Or I think he decided to redshirt, and they were having a winning season. And he said, y'all aren't going to pay me. I'm going to redshirt and transfer. I mean, I don't blame him. But that's the problem with this, is when you promise a teenager and or an early 20-something a lot of money and you go back on it, they're going to be petty. And I believe that right there is the basis of the lawsuit, is you terminated a contract. We had a contract, but did they have a contract? Because just saying we're going to pay you $13.85 million, if you don't have a contract, is it really a contract? And there's the part of the law that I don't know. Contract law is not my thing. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm not a lawyer. This is just stuff that interests me. Specifically on December 7th, 2022, Castro Walker told Jaden's agents that Hathcock's Gator Guard Collective would accept assignment of the $13.85 million NIL deal promised to Jaden. Castro Walker told Jaden's agents that Hathcock's Gator Guard Collective would accept assignment of the $13.85 million NIL deal promised to Jaden. Castro Walker also relayed that Hathcock, through Gator Guard, would personally guarantee, and anything to do with that Hathcock guy right now, like, I would be done. Like, I would be looking for a new school. I'd be done with Florida in general, not just their football program, but like, yeah. Yeah. That's what I don't know. And I personally think Billy Napier should have been fired for his poor coaching ability. However, if not many people know about this, and I believe that is intentional to keep Billy Napier's name out of the news. I don't know if anything is happening behind the scenes, but I really wouldn't be surprised if they were working super hard to keep this out of the news. And then there goes me. That's why I'm talking about it. Even though there's only like 18 people watching, I'm still talking about this because Florida, you're shady. I mean, Florida's not the only one who's shady. They're just the only one who's being sued right now. I just can't. These statements were made by Castro Walker either on behalf of himself or acting as Hathcock's agent. These statements violated the Florida NIL statute and NCAA regulations. To facilitate this new arrangement, Hathcock, Velocity, and or Castro Walker represented that the Gator Collective would retract its unfounded termination once the agreement was uncanceled. $13.85 million obligation would be assigned to the Gator Guard Collective. In accordance with this proposal, on December 9th of 2022, Hathcock, either acting on behalf of himself or for Velocity, wired an initial $150,000 payment to Jaden. Mr. Penny was responsible for initiating the wire transfer. The payment was made by either Hathcock or Velocity, so Jaden, and presumably also Hathcock and Velocity, could avoid litigation with Miami booster John Ruiz, who was seeking repayment from the $9.5 million NIL deal after Jaden flipped his commitment from Miami to UF. Oh yes, there's that problem too. Castro Walker said he was working with Hathcock to finalize the contractual assignment. for several weeks in December of 2022 after Castro Walker and Hathcock assured Jaden that the contract would be assigned. Jaden continued to forego other potential NIL opportunities from other schools in reliance on Castro Walker's assurances that the deal would be preserved. However, despite repeated inquiries and assurances from Castro Walker that the assignment would be forthcoming, by December 19th, 2022, Hathcock had still not executed the assignment or personal guarantee. And if you see, and I don't play when it comes to money, like, part of this NIL rules that I would institute is before you flip a recruit, you need to have something signed. Something needs to be signed. You can't just go on word of mouth, text messages. I understand texts and are receipts, but like, you need to have a contract signed before any recruit says, I'm flipping to you guys, to avoid this. Look at the size of players today compared to players in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, there was a freaking player, I think he was from Florida, 455 pounds. That was a big boy. That was a big boy. Yeah, you have the right not to trust the courts. We live here and know their crap isn't right. Yeah, I don't trust. Well, y'all know I don't trust anybody. And since we are at the end of, we are on H, y'all go get a snack, a water break. I am going to go change a diaper because my dining room is, I smell something I smell something afoul, if you know what I mean. So we are doing mama stuff, and
our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Thanks, guys, for your patience. Can you hear her in the background? Hey, T1. Nope, no art project. All right. Let's get back into this. And I think we're going to go for another 20 minutes and then we'll call it a day because this is a lot. It's a lot to get into in one day. So we'll probably do it again, probably either next Monday or later this week. And I know it's Christmas week, so I'll probably do a Christmas Eve stream tomorrow night and then take Christmas off and then do Thursday night. Defendants fraudulently induced Jaden to sign a national letter of intent with Florida. December 21st, 22 was signing day for 2023 NCAA Division I football early commit students. By this date, 2 weeks after Hathcock and Castro Walker assured Jaden that Hathcock would assume the $13.85 million deal, Hathcock still had not done so. Jaden also had not received that promised $500,000 signing bonus, less the $150,000 partial payment. Yep, no night court this week. Jaden repaid the entities affiliated with the Miami NIL deal in two separate payments. One in the amount of $23,181.81, and another in the amount of $114,434.42. So he had to repay Miami what he had gotten from them, and basically there went his $150,000 payment from Florida. Jaden tolerated this delay, believing that Hathcock, who had made promises to induce him to flip to Florida, all while bragging about it on Twitter, would keep his promises. As the hour approached for Jaden to sign his national letter of intent, Jaden asked his agents, Zager and Thompson, and his dad, Harlan, "Can I sign?" knowing he still had not received any payments for committing to UF. Zager responded, "Not yet," hoping that Hathcock or Velocity would wire the payments owed to Jaden. Meanwhile, Zager and Thompson discussed the money owed to Jaden with Castro Walker and Hathcock. In response to Jaden delaying the signing of his national letter of intent, Coach Napier delayed his press conference and personally called Jaden and Harlan to convince Jaden to sign. I mean, that's another problem for me. So big of a problem. During his first phone call with Jaden and Harlan, Coach Napier put pressure on Jaden by explaining that he did not want to go into his press conference without his quarterback signed. Harlan explained the reason for Jaden's delay in signing was the fact that the NIL deal still had not been assigned or honored. Napier then tried to contact Hathcock, but he could not reach him because Hathcock was on a plane. Nevertheless, Napier called Jaden and Harlan back and told Jaden and Harlan that Hathcock would pay Jaden $1 million as a partial payment towards the promised $13.85. Napier told Jaden to go ahead and sign the letter of intent because the NIL part of securing Jaden's commitment would not be a problem. Napier promised financial inducement violated Florida's NIL statute, NCAA regulations, and, on information and belief, the terms of Napier's employment contract. Why does he still coach for Florida? However, still with no payment executed assignment, Jaden's agents advised him not to sign the letter of intent. Jaden's agents offered to discuss the issue with Castro Walker one final time. During this conversation, Castro Walker emphasized Coach Napier's promises, telling Jaden's agents that Napier would get it done and emphasizing Napier's power as a head coach. Castro Walker increased pressure on Jaden to sign by telling him if he did not do it right away, Coach Napier might pull back his scholarship offer. Castro Walker further confirmed that Hathcock said he would pay the $1 million. That's so shady. There's too many people going, yeah, he'll pay you. Yeah, he'll pay you. Yeah, he'll pay you. Like, I just, so bizarre. I don't know. I'm seeing red flags all over this whole situation. Like, Castro Walker explained the only impediment to immediate payment that very same day was the fact Hathcock was traveling and on a plane. Relying on Napier's promise in combination with Castro Walker's assurances that it would be honored, Jayden was induced to go ahead and sign his letter of intent before the defendants made good on any of their commitments. Harlan reported this conversation to Zager and Thompson, stating, Coach Napier said Hathcock's on a plane and that he will wire $1 million. He wants the paperwork, and I'm sending it if you're good. Of course, Castro Walker, Napier, and Hathcock all knew that Jayden signing the National Letter of Intent on signing day would commit Jayden to UF and significantly and adversely affect his ability to secure other recruiting opportunities and related NIL deals. Redder than Orty Shack. You know I live with an Orty, right? Oh, this just has red flags all over it. Yes, redder than the Orty Shack. Red. Oh my goodness! Like, this frustrates me from the family's perspective and from Florida's perspective. Like, you can't. It's just shady. This is where money in college football goes wrong, because it just, this much money and kids are a problem. Like, it's just, and the desire to do anything to win. It's just a la Michigan last year. I just get so frustrated with this because, like, but from an outsider's perspective, if I was involved in it, I would probably see dollar signs and be like, yeah, they promised me. But his parents should have said, no, you're not signing, or should have talked to their own lawyer. Oh, and not just an agent. The timing and continued efforts to string Jayden along for several weeks prior, culminating with Napier's direct promise that Jayden would soon be paid the first $1 million of $13.85 million, were critical. By National Signing Day, other top schools who would have otherwise been interested in Jayden would have already signed their quarterbacks to national letters of intent. On December 21st, 2022, less than an hour after Coach Napier assured Jayden that his father that $1 million would be wired from Hathcock and the NIL deal would be honored, Jayden signed his national letter of intent with Florida. Jayden withdraws his commitment to UF. After inducing Jayden to sign his national letter of intent on signing day, the next few weeks consisted of a series of new promises of NIL agreements that consistently remained unfulfilled in an effort to salvage his utterly botched recruiting effort and to continue to give Jayden false hope that Hathcock, Velocity, or Napier would come through. In early January 2023, Castro Walker also sent a text message to Harlan to give assurance that Jayden would receive the signing bonus and all promised payments going forward. No. It later became clear that the new but unfulfilled promises were an attempt to retrade the deal while maintaining Jayden's commitment. Yeah. It used to be a full ride scholarship, and getting a degree without having any debt was enough for players. Yeah, and I totally can see why they want to get paid for their name, image, and likeness. I have seen when you go on Georgia's football page and you click on a player, if you click the name and you buy their jersey, they get a portion of the jersey sales. I believe that should be part of your NIL deal, is you get a part of the money that you raise. However, all of this and like talking about deals are not good. Like, the federal leveling has been charged federally. The rules in New York mean nothing. That's true. Yeah, federal courts don't allow cameras at all in either depositions or the courtroom. FYI. Ultimately, Jayden was left with no faith in the Florida football team's leadership and the individuals who constantly lied to him. She put her 2 cents in too. She doesn't like it either. Baby girl, do you like Florida? I got no response out of that one. On January 18th, 2023, and only after Jaden's newly retained legal counsel got involved. You should have had legal counsel from the start. Anything to do with contracts, get a lawyer. Yeah. I know. I think there's a problem. I think you need to play your full 4 years and you need to graduate before you can sign with the NFL. But NFL teams want to win too. I love Brock Bowers. Florida permitted Jaden to withdraw his national letter of intent and play for UF. After exploring several other colleges, Jaden chose to begin his college career where his father played football, Arizona State. Interestingly, Jaden neither sought nor was promised any type of NIL commitment from Arizona State. Recently, on April 19th, 2024, Jaden entered the transfer portal and selected the University of Georgia as the school he would attend beginning in 2024-2025 school year. Similarly to his decision to attend Arizona State, Jaden's decision to attend Georgia this year was not in response to any promises, assurances, or offers connected to NIL money. He had learned his lesson. All right, and I think claims for relief is where we're going to start it. This originated in May 21st, so right after that last part. So the next part is claims for relief, what they want. We'll get into that probably. I don't think there was ever an actual contract. It sounds like, according to this, he didn't get a legal counsel until January 18th. I don't know about y'all, but if I were entering into big time money contracts with any school and promises I would have gotten a lawyer. And I guarantee you, if Jaden had gotten a lawyer or his family had gotten a lawyer, this would have never been an issue because they would have been like, I want it in writing and I want it signed. And so I don't think there was ever a contract, which remains the big question on my part is the judge going to, what is the judge going to do with this and be like, well, there was no actual contract, but there's text messages, and emails, and there's the iffy part of contract law, which I don't know anything about. If I can find somebody who knows contract law, I will ask them and maybe have them on my channel to try to talk about it. But like, I don't know anybody that, like, because yes, verbal contracts are a thing, but when it comes to this much money, are they? And oral contracts can be enforced, but on what level? Is there limitations to that? And it's just so bizarre. I mean, and this is where the NIL goes wrong. And which is why I wanted to talk about this case and follow it, because not only is Jaden Rashada now QB4 for Georgia, well, now he's QB3 because our QB1 is out, but that's beside the point. He is now QB3 at Georgia going into the playoffs. So it's just one or two hits away from being the person, you know. So it's just one of those interesting things that this is where the NIL, this is uncharted territory. This is the first lawsuit that I've seen like this. And I know there's been other players that went to school before the NIL was a thing that had sued the NCAA, but never suing an individual coach, collective, and recruiting staffer. So yeah, technically, if both sides agrees, they're just enforceable as written. But this is also an uncharted territory. So yes, I understand contracts, an oral agreement, but is is it really? Like, when it's just one of those things of like, it's gray area, in my opinion. It seems to be a gray area because no one's ever sued a coach before or a collective that I'm aware of, or this big one. And what happens if this does go to court and now we have precedents and there's case law, but like never enter into a contract without a lawyer. Never enter into a contract without a lawyer. All right. And on that note, I am going to, we are on page 26. This is a 46-page lawsuit. So there is other things to get into as well, including withdrawing of counsel. This is document 37. There are 71 entries in this docket. So, yeah, it's and there was a hearing on December 18th. So this was pushed off for a while and there was no responses for months. People were entering things, a delay, motion to delay a response. But that was it. And then all of a sudden, all these documents showed up within the last 2 months. So yeah, 46 pages. And that's why it's like, I did technically, this is an amended complaint. That's why I'm reading it again. Otherwise, I would just tell you to go back and watch my videos from June. At either the end of May or June. But there's a lot. And then there's also a pro hoc vitae motion. I want to say pro hoc vices because I miss my vices, and that's just my way of being funny about it. But it's vitae. It's going to be a long case. There was a hearing on 12/18 about the motion to dismiss by all 4 defendants. And there was motions to dismiss, oral arguments heard, but there hasn't been a response, and that was entered on 12/18. So we will see next time where this all goes. I will finish reading it and get to the good stuff. Because I know the initial complaint or the amended complaint is never easy. It's the whole history of the case. And if you already know the whole history of the case, it's even more boring. But we will get to everything next time. Hey, Gabby, how are you? So what do y'all think about this? And I am probably going to redirect. I have to see where we can redirect to. Let's see. There we go. I think Megan is still live. Let's see. Mashada B, Florida. Megan Fox, not that one. Yeah. Redirect. Shizzy's live too. But let's go to Megan. Megan Fox. Tell her I said hi. And y'all have a great holiday if I don't talk to you before then. KU Thunder. Enjoyed your workout, your live while I was working out. Have a good one. And next year, I will get back into the Motivation Mondays because I did have 30 pounds to lose. Now I have 40 pounds to lose. So I might upgrade my my StreamYard to the highest one. So where I can have 2 cameras, because now that I have 2 cameras, I might have 1 camera on me, and 1 camera on, like, so that it's easier to see, because I know sometimes when I do workouts, and I know those aren't popular streams, but like if I can convince one person to try to get up and start moving, then my day has been made. All right, y'all tell Megan I said hi. Have a great day. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if I don't see y'all again. Bye.